So yeah, thank you again, Fred. And my presentation is kind of a continuation and kind of reinforcing a lot of things that that Fred has mentioned, and then kind of getting into the philosophy as well. But I always like to start these presentations with telling you just a few quick things about me. I've been a state of California recruiter for a little over 3 years now with Department of General Services. I work with recruiters from a lot of the other state departments, and always happy to volunteer information and work with people with this process. That's basically what my job is to do outreach and help people. I'm going to talk in general about state positions, but I'm going to gear it more towards my employer, which is Department of General Services. So I'll talk about that. But as you saw, with Fred and what I'm going to tell you, it is a lot of work to get a state job, but I like to paint the picture that it's worth it. This is my favorite job that I've ever had. I came from the private sector, and the benefits of working for the state are definitely worth it. Once you get into the state, you can move around a little bit. The pension plan, the paid days off that were vacation days as well, the job stability, all those things are excellent. And I have been, I've been in the private sector, and I've been through waves of layoffs. I don't forecast that happening with the state. There's just this different level of job security and respect that you get. And even you even get paid time off to interview for other state jobs at other departments. So it's a very open, transparent world. You can see all the salaries of everyone. So yeah, there's just a comfort level in state service. So again, I work at DGS, but I'm also involved with NextGov, where I'm actually the director of public recruiting for NextGov. It's a nonprofit organization encouraging people to get into state service. So let me kind of go over the agenda for today. Again, I'm going to talk about Department of General Services. I'm going to jump into Cal Careers. I'll talk a little bit more about the state exam. I know Fred covered that, so I'll try to go through that part quickly. How to apply for state job. I'll go over the different application package documents and kind of the hiring manager's perspective, and then kind of the advantage for you to kind of attack these jobs in a certain way for the most success. I'm going to talk about a lot of current openings and specific classifications to target. I will talk about veteran as well as LEAP certification. And the LEAP certification is related to Department of Rehabilitation. I have a lot of suggestions and recommendations. And then a big part of any kind of job search is following up, remain connected, and really connecting not just with people like me, but the other recruiters at state departments for the places that you're interested. They post their jobs, and they do presentations just like this, specific to their department. So LinkedIn is always something that I'm a big fan of. To jump into DGS, again, it's a kind of a generic name, but it's because we do such a variety of activities. Department of General Services, we're essentially kind of like the business arm for the state. We handle contracts or the procurement process. That's a big piece of what other state employees know us for. They have to go through us for contracting and procurement processes. We also are famous for having a kind of the real estate and facilities management part of the divisions. A lot of other state departments are actually in DGS owned buildings. So we're the property manager, and our tenants are other state departments. So we have a lot of jobs in the commercial real estate, and then in facilities management division. Again, we have buildings, you'll see my next slide, from San Diego all the way up to Redding that we manage. And so we have on-site positions there. And that's where I'm going to talk about, different custodians, groundskeepers. We basically have all the positions involved with managing buildings. Transportation, we have an Office of Fleet and Asset Management. So DGS manages the state of fleet vehicles, all of which now are at least hybrid or electric vehicles. That's through our Office of Fleet and Asset Management. We also are responsible for the Office of State Publishing. So within that office, we do all of the printed materials for a lot of state departments, business cards, registration ballots. Gets really busy in times of elections. We have an Office of Administrative Hearings. We also have the Division of State Architect. Again, there's like 25 different offices or divisions. I could go on and on. One of my favorites is the Office of Sustainability, incorporating sustainable practices in building, vehicles, transportation. We also administer the grants for K through 12 school construction, and then also review the plans through our Division of State Architect for those construction projects. We actually are closer to about 4,000 employees now. Large HR department, that's what I'm a part of. And Fred was talking about Associate Governmental Program Analyst. That's what I am. I'm an AGPA, but my working title is recruiter. And you'll see that in the job postings. There's the classification and the working title. We have a really large IT office. We're always looking for accountants. And I'm going to go through the specific positions as I get through here. Some of our locations, I mentioned a couple of buildings I'd like to point out. We have the Ronald M. George building is the upper left. That's at the Civic Center Plaza in downtown San Francisco. The upper right is the Ronald Reagan building. That's in downtown LA. It's actually my backdrop here on the Zoom call, as well as the bottom left. That's the E.U. Harris building in Oakland. That one's really cool. It actually has a helicopter landing pad on the roof. And then the bottom right is actually the Department of General Services headquarters, the Ziggurat building. And we're in Yolo County, where, as you can see, we're right across the Tower Bridge. So when looking for positions at DGS, if you're doing a county search, you'll want to put Yolo County for positions in our headquarters. So those are some of our locations. And again, within all these locations, you'll find other state departments as our tenants. Really, the search for a state job, everything revolves through CalCareers as far as creating your account. I heard some questions about where the exam scores are, where your applications are, where your application templates. Everything is connected to your CalCareers account. So make sure you save whatever email you use as a reference. Everything is in there. But again, taking it to the basics, you of course want to create the account and be detailed. You're going to fill out your personal and your employment information. And then you can search before putting in all that information just to make sure you find classifications you're interested in. But I think it's worthwhile to actually set up the account and then start from there. And you can get to it two ways. There's the CalCareers .ca.gov or jobs.ca.gov. Both of those domain names are owned by CalCareers. Real quickly to talk about the exams. I would read the exam bulletin and always make sure that you meet the minimum qualifications for the exam you're going to take. There's circumstances where you can pass and have a good score in an exam, but you don't actually have the education and work experience. That's also a big piece of it. So make sure you're taking an exam that you know that you have the experience for. A lot of the exams aren't necessarily like your knowledge. They're more really a self-assessment of your education and work experience. So it's important to really do your research and I guess in this case not waste time on classifications that you're not meeting the minimum qualifications for. Again, that bulletin will tell you what the minimum qualifications are, as well as the job announcement itself. So again, review the minimum qualifications. And then taking the exam, most of the exams now are online, which is great. And then you take it and as Fred said, usually the results are spit out immediately. Other ones, there's a few that you still have to mail in, but most of the time the exam results will come back to you, and those scores can be good for 1 year, 2 years, and I've seen some exam scores that are good for 3 years. After passing the exam, start applying to the positions. Again, a big part is making sure you qualify. So again, follow all the instructions. Fred mentioned the templates. It sounds like you can do at least 10. I thought it was like 7 or 8, but yeah, you can do 10 different templates. So you always want to modify that application template because that's one thing that's required for every position is that STD 678 form. Some of the other documents required could be a cover letter, resume, statement of qualifications, which is sometimes called supplemental questionnaire, and transcripts. But again, the most important document, more important than the resume, is that STD 678 form. Again, to get a little bit more into the STD 678 form, you can actually export it, you can print it and review it if you want. Again, the STD 678 is really, it supersedes the resume. So don't write C resume or don't forget to put the details on there. That's actually the document that's reviewed to check that you meet the experience and education requirement is that STD 678. Not the most glamorous or fun part of the process is the statement of qualifications. And to give you the philosophy behind that, it's essentially what the hiring managers have done so someone doesn't pass an exam and then apply to 200 jobs without even reading the description of what the job is. It's a way for hiring managers to really see if you're serious about that position. It's also a chance for them to see what your writing skills are like, as well as just following directions. Did you follow the format? Did you answer all the questions that they asked? So again, this is not a cover letter. Oftentimes people upload a cover letter in place of the statement of qualifications and then they get disqualified. So very important, if the position requires an SOQ, fill it out properly, have someone proofread it. And again, I would say positions that require this statement of qualifications, they get probably about 1/3 of the number of applications. So the good thing is less competition, right? And again, maybe you're missing one or two things, one or two pieces of information from the duty statement, which is the state's job description. This is your chance to say, okay, I have this experience and this is how it relates to the job. So again, you can kind of connect the dots on why you're the best candidate, show your writing skills, and then really compete in an application pool that's a little bit smaller. Again, it does take time. Once you've done a few of these, usually you can take pieces from other ones and kind of combine it. But I would say that the SOQ is the most time-consuming piece once you have everything set up. Some positions want school transcripts or a copy of your diploma. For instance, if there's any accountant, finance or accountant professionals, the accountant trainee classification, there's 5 specific classes that you need to have to qualify for that, to meet the minimum qualifications. So they ask for that up front to make sure that you have those classes. Again, resume is sometimes optional, sometimes required. I think it's good to include it if you have an updated one. And cover letter is becoming more and more obsolete, but I've been digging around recently. I've seen a lot of postings that still require the cover letter. You might want to have one of those just in case. So those are the main documents. I like to talk about this page of the application. It's page 4 of the STD 678. This is where you would put your education information, your licenses. It is also where you're going to put your most recent job, dates of employment. And under this duties performed section, that's really going to be the most important section. You want to use all of that space. You also want to be sure to include a supervisor's name and supervisor's phone number. Just including that and applying to a job, that doesn't mean they're going to immediately call your current supervisor, but I do think it shows that you're being transparent, that you're not hiding anything. I feel like a lot of people leave things blank and the hiring managers kind of think that you're hiding something. So I would just disclose all of this information. When you do get to the interview stage, they ask for a second set of references and 3 professional references, and they oftentimes don't even use this. So again, I think on your template, put it all in there. Now, when they're talking about hours per week, again, that's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, if it's more than 40 or it's like 50 hours per week, you want to put that in there because that's used for calculating minimum, if you meet minimum qualifications. So if they're looking for 3 years of full-time experience, which is 40 hours a week, and you only have worked a place for 20 hours a week, you of course would need to have 6 years of experience if it's 20 hours a week. So it really is an equation. and they're looking at all this information to see that you basically, the equation adds up, that you're eligible for that job. Some positions that we have at Department of General Services, again, custodians, groundskeepers, office technicians, station engineer, building manager. We're looking for associate real estate officers. We have a bunch of IT specialist 1 positions in our ETS department, Office of Fiscal Services, budget analyst, accountant trainee. I told you we have the Office of State Publishing. We're also looking for mail machine operators and printing trades trainees, legal services, human resources. We have so many positions. This is the link to all the DGS openings. And again, it changes every day. They're posting positions as I'm talking right now. All the positions posted, if today is the filing deadline, those close at midnight. I didn't know that when I first started. I thought it was like at 5 o'clock business hours. No, you're applying online. You have till midnight to apply for these jobs. So those are some of the positions. I actually, if anyone on this call has any relatives or someone interested in a custodian position in San Francisco, DGS, we're about to post 25 positions in San Francisco, all custodian, 2 groundskeeper positions, and 2 custodian supervisor roles. I like to go over just kind of a few general kind of career paths as ways to kind of break in and get kind of your first entry level position. Not all these are entry level, but these are ones I like to talk about. For instance, back to custodian, there's 27 posted right now, and there's going to be 25 more posted. All you need to meet minimum qualifications for custodian is to take the exam and pass, and have either a high school diploma or 6 months of cleaning experience. So that's, as far as an entry point, most people will reach or be able to meet, the minimum qualifications for custodian. Staff service analysts, look at that. There's 243 positions right now. Again, Fred went over some of the filtering methods. You can filter by county, classification, several different filters you can use, State Department. I, of course, I'm always putting in Department of General Services to see all the ones we have and promote those ones. But yeah, there's a lot of different filter mechanisms. Keyword search is also really good. So once you do, if you're looking for staff service analysts and there's 243, that can be a little bit intimidating. Do keyword searches. Like for me, I would do talent acquisition and see what positions come up that are under talent acquisition. Mentioned groundskeeper before, there's 4 of those positions listed right now. Here's another area of opportunity, office technician typing. Again, there's also office technician general. That one's not as commonly used in state service, but one of the entry-level positions that most state departments use is office technician typing. And again, there's 198 of those opportunities. Importantly though, this one has the hardest exam, which maybe doesn't make total sense as it's our entry-level position. But the exam for this one really is a test. It's grammar, it's English. So that one actually isn't just asking you about experience, it's actually giving you test quiz type questions. My advice for this one, even if you pass, if you don't end up in maybe the top 4 ranks, I would be cautious about attacking this one and applying to a lot of positions, because this is one of the classifications where you can actually pass the exam but be in a rather low rank, and typically they can only hire from the top 3 or 4 ranks in state service. So if you do bad on the office technician typing exam, I would move on to other classifications because there's a lot. Employment program representative is also a good one for someone that has customer service. EDD is a state department that employs a lot of these type of professionals. It's customer service. Oftentimes those positions are looking for someone that's bilingual Spanish, so that would be a good target. Staff service analyst also has some bilingual Spanish positions as well. There's the AGPA. Again, with state service, you hear a lot of acronyms. Associate Governmental Program Analyst. There's about 300 of those listed. Again, with that one, the easiest way to qualify for that one is a bachelor's degree and 3 years of analytical work experience. Information Technology Specialist 1, again, just about every state department is struggling to find these professionals. That one's kind of that one's not really entry level. That one usually requires some experience in a different area of IT. But what's nice about that one is the salary range on that one. You can make $9,400 per month plus your pension plan and all your other benefits. So that one is a lucrative career path if you want to do IT for the state. But again, I checked this morning and there was 4,581 jobs posted. Again, that's gone up because all the state departments are posting new ones today. So again, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but you got to do your own digging. One thing I haven't talked too much about is the duty statement. I'll get through that now. Again, I really like to make sure people are targeting the correct classification. And again, you've heard this word minimum qualifications. Again, it's two things. A minimum qualifications is a passing score on the exam for that classification. And really you want to be in the top 3 ranks. And on your SCD application, you have to show that you also meet the education and work experience requirements. So those are kind of the 2 main things. And that's what they're looking for on these state applications, as well as the desirable skills from the duty statement. But you got to at least meet the minimum qualifications or you're wasting your time. Mentioned before, include an updated resume as a supporting document, even if they don't ask for it. And again, as you're filling out those applications, I would, I'm old school. I like to print things. I print the duty statement and I highlight the key words because oftentimes it's the hiring manager that's written these duty statements. And for those that don't know what the duty statement is, it's the state's document that's basically the job description. It's the breakdown of percentage of things that you're going to do for that job. So again, a lot of these hiring managers, again, they've written these duty statements. If you can incorporate that and put it into your application, you'll look like you match what they're looking for. Again, don't forget any documents. If you forget a document that's required, you usually just are omitted from the process. Obviously preparing, rehearse possible interview questions. I'm a big fan of the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, result. That way you kind of go full circle. And I'll save the interview tips. I know there's a session later for that one. You can set up alerts. But again, I believe in applying to positions that most closely align with your skill set, as opposed to the expression we used to use is spray and pray, just spraying your resume and application everywhere. That's one strategy. I think you should do a more targeted approach, focus on the ones that mostly align with what your skill set is, and put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes and say, okay, what skills do I have? Why am I going to stand out for this position? Again, if it has a statement of qualifications, you can show off your writing skills and almost tell them why you're a good fit for that position. If you are a veteran, there's the SPB 1093 form. Where that comes into play is if you're a veteran or a LEAP candidate through Department of Rehabilitation, you automatically are bumped to the top rank. Additional recommendations. I love LinkedIn, so creating a LinkedIn profile is a great idea. Finding recruiters and other people at those state departments that have the position that you're already in, connect with them, ask them how they got there, ask them about the culture. Like you also want to make sure it's a job you want and a department you want. So yeah, so talk to someone that already has the position, and LinkedIn can help you find that person. If you don't have enough years of experience to meet the minimum qualifications, start in the private industry and get more experience until you can meet that MQ for the state job. YouTube videos are really helpful for preparing for the interview. There's also different YouTube videos for applying for state jobs. And also if you've applied to all these jobs and are not getting any calls, check one lower, like a classification just one below where you think you should be, and perhaps you can get more hits there. with the intention of then promoting. I know people that have started off as office technician, and then after 6 months just jumped right into AGPA, and one of them's already an SSM1 in less than like 18 months. So, and always remember, education is really important with state positions. Again, if you have extra experience, usually that can take the place of the education, not always. But you kind of hear this push from the private sector and the tech companies. They don't care about education. Well, the state's more old school. We do care about the education. So again, if you have a bachelor's degree, you should automatically be targeting staff service analyst positions, because you will meet the minimum qualifications with just a bachelor's degree in anything. And you also will start off at salary range C. So again, staff service analyst should be the target if you have a bachelor's degree. Just to touch real quickly on veterans preference, this is for any veteran candidates. Important to follow up and do that. The positions I like to really mention are those OT positions, because that has a hard exam, and then if you're a veteran, it automatically bumps you to the top of the list. So if you're a veteran, that would be my suggestion to you. If you're trying to break in and get your first state job, you know, go through this process and target specifically office technician typing. Same thing with LEAP. Again, that's the process that you would go through for your local Department of Rehabilitation to be LEAP certified. Also helpful, and also good to target the OT positions. I always like to leave my contact information, and then also our DGS LinkedIn page is a great place to get resources. If we've posted a position on our LinkedIn page, it's because we're not getting enough applications and we want more people to see it, share it, apply for it. So again, you should be following DGS and any state department that has a LinkedIn page that you're interested in. Great resource. And again, you know, yeah, you can't, you've got nothing to lose really with the LinkedIn part of it. Some other follow-up steps. Feel free to reach out to me. You know, when you secure a state interview, I have some tips I can go over. I know there's a presentation this afternoon about interview tips, but my example I always like to give is, and this is a mistake I made, I did an SOQ and all these things, and I assumed they had that and that was at their fingertips during the interview. And so I didn't even discuss all of my experience and my education, and like the interview was done in maybe like 15 minutes. During these interviews, it's a panel interview. If you don't say it, you don't get credit for it. So if you don't say, I have a bachelor's degree in this, I have 10 years of experience, I have this competency, this, and this, you don't get credit for that. So it's important to really verbalize all your experience and pretend like they haven't even seen any parts of your application. Again, that forces you to explain kind of the full story. And then again, the other tip I already mentioned, the STAR method. There's going to be questions about your experience level, and then there's going to be behavioral-based interview questions. An example of that is like, tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult customer. What did you do? So these situational questions or behavioral-based interview questions, you got to prepare for those, because usually there's a few of those. Those are the ones that are the hardest for me. Got to have an example, what you did, how you resolved it, and it's got to be clear. Those are the type of questions where you can end up rambling. So you want to have your ideas organized. So those are my follow-up steps. There's my email. Again, please connect with me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and also follow the DGS page. I like to open it up to questions.